Good morning, everybody. Hi, good morning. I welcome the entire gathering. I welcome my principal, chairman of the GPSC for this program. This is a program which department has initiated. Last year during COVID, we tried to do it online. This is to generate awareness about GPSC program or what is GPSC all about, Goa Public Service Commission, because majority of the job that is available in Goa is through this GPSC exam. As a department, this is the initiative that we want to see students aspiring, majority of the student aspiring to clear GPSC and make this GPSC in thing about in Goa. So this is about awareness. Now GPSC, we want to create, we want to motivate student awareness, as I said. So welcome to this program. I welcome my principal. I welcome sir. I welcome my principal. I would like to introduce her. She has the experience of 37 years. She has been principal of Dempe College of Arts and Science, Miramar from 2017. She has been awarded the Best Teachers Award by the government of Goa for the year 2020. She has to her credit lots of research papers, more than 50 research papers. She has guided many MPhils and PhD students. So I welcome our principal, and from here on, I hand it over to Divya. Yeah, Divya.
Now, I would like to call on Ma'am Principal to please come and introduce our guest of honor for today.
Good morning, all, and welcome for this awareness program on GPSC examination. My dear students, I take pleasure in welcoming the GPSC chairman, Jose Manuel Noronha. He is an apt personality amongst us, and actually we should thank him for accepting this invitation. And you are yourself should consider very, fortunate that in spite of his busy schedule, he has come here. Just now he was telling me that so many things are lined up now for him being GPSC chairman, but still he has accepted our invitation, and I welcome you, sir, to Dempe College. And let me introduce him. He has Masters of Engineering from Goa University, then postgraduate diploma in Human Rights Law, National Law School of India, Bangalore, postgraduate diploma in Environmental Law, National Law School of India, University, Bangalore, then member of Institution of Engineers, Mechanical Engineering. He has also got training from USA, Japan, and also Harvard University, USA, Institute, Texas, USA, and also Government of India. He has a teaching experience of nearly 25 years in various capacities. These are all in engineering colleges. Besides, he has worked also in industry for about 3.5 years. And in the government, he is at present the chairman of GPSC, Goa Public Service Commission, then chairman National Committee on Model Rules of Procedure for State Public Service Commission, then member of Standing Committee, National Conference of State Public Service Commission, then chairman of Goa State Innovation Council. This council also does many good things at present. We are in the era where innovation is a buzzword. Then Besides this, earlier he was chairman of Goa State Pollution Control Board till 2016, then chairman of Goa State Environmental Impact Assessment Authority appointed by Ministry of Environment of Forest, Government of India till 2013, then chairman of Program Advisory and Monitoring Committee of the Ministry of Science and Technology till March 16, then September 15, he was appointed by Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. Okay, and he was in the Academic Council of Goa University till 2012. So we have a very experienced person with us today, and I hope that all of you make the best use of his experience and understand the each and every point regarding the GPSC examination, because later there shouldn't be the thing that you are not aware what is GPSC examination, how it is conducted, what is the portion, everything he is going to explain to you. This is an awareness program. Thanks a lot for joining with us, and thanks a lot, sir, for being with us.
Now I would like to call Tahiba to please come, and we'll extend a hearty welcome to our chairman, sir, through a bouquet of flowers. Also, we'd like to extend a bouquet to ma'am for gracing us with her presence today.
Thanks a lot.
Now I would like to call upon ma'am call upon sir to please resume. Yes, sir.
I think if he is, what is happening is little, his face won't be seen by the
like
people.
this or this way.
No, I think now students can see him.
Students can see him.
Yes.
Okay, because expression.
Yes.
Sir, you are the online students.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Yes, thank you.
Then bring him to my cabin. So please, sorry.
Can I?
Please.
I just like the door closed.
Yes.
Right. Good morning to all of you. It's really noisy out. I'm happy that there are more girls than boys, and because from all my experience, girls are more attentive. They're more focused, and the number of people who come to us for interviewing the girls are more than the boys. So perhaps it's a good sign that we have so many of them today. Now, just before I start, are you all from the political science background or history or what is the background here of children? Economics. Anything else? That's it. Economics and political science. Good. You know, I will start off by saying to you that GPSC exams are not easy, okay? This is not a discouragement. This is more a motivation to you. They are not easy. So, you know, I'll tell you a little story I had heard long back, that there was a farmer. Actually, they said Indian farmer. I'm not going to say Indian farmer. I'll say there was a farmer who was sitting and he was guarding his crop of cauliflower. And along comes an American farmer and he asks him, that, what are you doing? He says, I'm guarding this patch of my cauliflower here. So he says, you're just sitting down doing nothing. Why don't you grow cauliflower on the next plot as well? So he says, okay, if I grow on the next plot, then what do I do? So then you buy the next plot, and you buy the next plot till you own this entire patch and you have cauliflower and you make a lot of money. He said, what do I do after that? He said, then you relax. He said, I am already relaxing. Why you want me to do all these things before I relax? So the point you have to understand is that if you are happy with a very mundane or very easygoing life, you want to do the easy things in life, you don't want to take too much of stress, then civil service is not for you. Okay, so that is something that you have to understand yourself. We cannot teach you this. It is that you have to understand, am I willing to work hard? Am I willing to undergo the rigors of pressures, political pressures, administrative pressures, public because of RTI and so many things, So if you're willing to get into that kind of a life, then public service jobs or government jobs are your cup of tea. So this is something that I don't know. You yourself will know. Now, having said all that, before we come to the preparation stage and the syllabus of a Public Service Commission exam, I will tell you a good headline news today. If you read all the newspapers, they say that Delhi has closed down on a lockdown, not because of COVID. It's lockdown because the air quality is bad. Okay. So if you come to us for an interview, and if I ask one of you, then why is that air quality in Delhi so bad? I'm sure that most of you will tell me because the vehicular pollution is bad, and the Diwali season came, so the people burnt crackers and rockets and all that, and therefore that is a wrong answer, absolutely wrong. And I will tell you why it's a wrong answer. So when you prepare for civil service, remember, you have to prepare it in depth. You cannot come half prepared, half baked. Now, the real reason for why Delhi goes through this is like this. The north of India was traditionally a wheat growing economy. For the guys who are Adam Smiths here, you'll understand it was a wheat growing economy. So people grew wheat. Wheat comes up in the month of November or December, and by March they probably harvest it, and then they make their food is wheat food, like parathas and rotis and chapatis. In the south, like how we are rice eaters. So Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Goa, parts of our, and rice is a very thirsty crop. It requires a lot of water. So we have an adequate monsoon that feeds us. Now along comes some idea called the Green Revolution. The Green Revolution comes. What does it say? We got to stock up our food grains. We got to stock up our warehouses or whatever with food stock. So they tell all the northern states, you also better start growing rice. Now rice requires water. So what do? They start putting bore wells and they put pumps and they begin to draw water from the ground and start planting rice in states like Punjab and Haryana and Delhi and UP everywhere. Groundwater begins to get depleted. Okay. So then the government says to them, you can't grow in June. You grow it when the monsoon strikes. Now the monsoon comes to Delhi much later. It comes in July and July end. So we get it in June. It comes in July. So they begin to sow their seeds in July. Now comes November and they have to start planting their wheat. So they are in a catch-22. So what do we do? So they got a mechanical harvester that cuts the stalk of rice, and then they start processing that rice. But what does this machine do? It leaves such a big stub of rice down. When you cut with your hand, everything gets cut immediately, right from the bottom. But if you take a machine, imagine hectares and hectares of land with stubs this big all around. So the best way for them to start planting wheat, which they have to do now in November, is they burn it. By burning it, they get rid of all the stubble, and then they can start growing wheat. So this is the major cause of the air pollution in Delhi. As much as you would like to tell me that it is to do with vehicular pollution, yes, that is a contributory factor, or it is to do with Diwali, firecrackers, etc. But the major reason is stubble burning. And why stubble burning? I gave you the reason. So if you come prepared to the public service and give me an answer like this, you have scored all the marks. But if you come and tell me that it is to do with vehicles and to do with your Diwali crackers, you will come out and say you answered well, but it is not a right answer. You followed, no? So preparation for public service exams have to be of that caliber. Remember, when you are in public service as a civil servant or as whatever you want to call yourself, you're dealing with a king, you're dealing with a politician, you're dealing with a minister, you're dealing with somebody who's above you. His role is always, do you all read, any of you all read books like Machiavelli, and do you all read Plato, and do you all read all these books? And nowadays kids don't read, but you have to read. If you read The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli, he says that a prince will try his best to remain in power by hook or by crook, by evil means or by good means. And that has not changed from the 15th century till now. It's the same. Our kings or rulers, whoever we call them, are always using all the means they can to remain in power. And as a civil servant or as a bureaucrat, you have to ensure that they do the right things. So the pressures begin to mount. That's why I began by saying, are you willing to take on pressures? Then these exams are for you. And remember, always do the right honest thing. That is the education that a college like you should primarily give you. Education by learning books and information all today. In fact, I don't have to teach you. If you sit on a mobile, the University of Google will tell you everything, right? I don't have to tell you that. You know it. But the point of these basic ethics, honesty, how to understand solution, how to understand problem, like I told you about the air pollution, that is the major in-depth study. Now coming to a public service exam, now people like I heard now economics, I heard political science, maybe somebody from history or geography. If you do a basic qualification like this at a master's level, then you can get into teaching for one. To do teaching, you have to do a NET or you have to do SET. And now I'm told you have to do a PhD as well. So that is one part of those who want to teach. The other jobs for persons like you are, there's something known as a junior scale officer. Now, who is a junior scale officer? Somebody who gets eventually to become the director of education, director of higher education, who can become the director of departments like mining department or women and child development or tribal welfare. So that is the level of a junior scale officer. Now a junior scale officer is a very sought after position. I have joined the commission in 2016. From the 16 till now, it will be 6 years shortly. I am struggling to fill these posts. I can't find candidates. The last time we advertised for 15 posts, 3,000 persons appeared. Of the 3,000 persons, I have an interview tomorrow to select for the 15. I have got only 7 persons who have qualified for the interview out of 3,000. Therefore, I told you the story of the Delhi pollution. The reason is because you all are not preparing in depth the way that you should normally prepare. You followed, no? So and many times, you believe to think that you know everything. We are like that, that we know nothing, remember. We know absolutely nothing. I have done a Master of Engineering at the Government Engineering College here. I was fairly good in maths, I mean, throughout my 12th, I'm not saying I was Albert Einstein, but I was fairly good. When I was teaching at one time at PCC, I was the head of the mechanical department actually. There was an engineer who came from ONGC, who came to tell us about how oil flows through pipelines. And he was a guy from IIT Kharagpur, and he goes to the board, and we had a huge board, and he wrote an equation in calculus that was massive that described to us how oil flows in the pipelines. I didn't understand a word of it, let me tell you. As good as my mathematics was, I didn't understand a word. And that day, I mean, I was pretty young then. I must have been like 32 or something. I realized that how little I know. So the first step you have to understand is that you know nothing. Okay? And when you know nothing, you will begin to learn. And sometimes, we go with such a confidence that even like, we can go to the moon and come, that type of confidence. It's not good to be overconfident. It's good to have confidence, but not good to be overconfident. So when you're answering this exam, the 3,000 people who answer this exam, they go prepared, semi-prepared, half-prepared, not prepared. Some of them, they just go casually and they think, oh, I spoke to X, Y, Z and he will do it for me. Nothing will happen. You speak to X, you speak to Y, you speak to Z, nothing can happen. You have to pass that exam the way that we want you to pass that exam. As much as people will tell you, don't worry, I will go and speak to somebody, nothing will work. Okay? You have to just get clear. Now, of the 7 people who are coming to the interview tomorrow, 2 are doctors from the Goa, 2 are doctors from there. 2 are engineers from Goa, I don't know from which college, 2 are engineers. 1 is a marine engineer from some university outside of Goa, and 1 is a lawyer. So you've got 2 doctors, you have 2 engineers, you have a marine engineer, you have a lawyer, and there's one girl who's done MSc to do with medical technology or something. So these are the 7. See the spectrum? Doctors, engineers, medical. So there's a lawman as well. Yeah, so now earlier we had people who were there from the arts field as well. There were people from political. So it doesn't really matter what is your background. What matters is how you prepare for this exam. Now I'll start with the junior scale. So I told you. So when we advertise for a junior skill examination, it comes on every second Friday of a month. Okay. For whatever ads the GPSC puts, whether it's for junior scale or for any other position, it is only on the second Friday of every month. When you see that advertisement, and if it attracts you, and if you feel that you're eligible and you're qualified, you have to apply online. There's nothing that you come to GPS. It's all on the web. You go, you pay your fee online. There are two fees, 1,000 rupees if you're a general category, and if you're from reserved category, it is 500 rupees. Okay, that's the fee that one pays. Once you've paid the fee and the application has been uploaded, we will scrutinize it there at the GPSC. So if you meet all your requirements, then you can be called for two things. Either an interview if the number of applications are very little. For example, if we have one post and we have 3 applications, we call all the 3 for an interview. But if we have 15 posts and we have 3,000 applications, then we have an examination to shortlist. Now, there are 4 types of exams that we do. The first is a pre-screening exam. A pre-screening, basically, what does it do? All of you, 3,000, will answer different papers. There are 10 types of papers or 11 types of papers. And the paper comprises only 2 parts. One is reasoning, and the other is English language. That is comprehension. So you'll get 2 paragraphs. Each paragraph will have 5 questions. You have to choose. Now, each question has got 4 choices, A, B, C, or D. You choose the choice that you feel is correct. If the choice is correct, you get 1 mark. If the choice is wrong, you get no marks. At the end of 1 hour, now 50 marks is for reasoning, 10 marks is for English. That's clear? At the end of 1 hour, your score comes to you on the screen itself. There's no such thing as assessment done anyway. The marks are displayed to you there and then. On your computer screen, your score has come. Okay? So then we collate all these scores of the exam that we have. And the next day we come to GPSC and we upload the results of the candidates. And then all those who get 60% and above qualify for the next stage. So you have to get 60% of that. So if it's a 60-mark paper, you have to get 36 marks to qualify for the next stage. Pre-screening having been done, the next stage is a CBRT. That's a computer-based recruitment test. It's a general test. Now, the test for the junior scale is of very many sections. There is an environmental section. There is a political science section, like you have the Constitution, etc. There's a history section. There's a geography section. There's a technology section. There's an English language section. There is a reasoning section. So there are 75 questions, and there are breakup. Like reasoning will be 20 marks, history will be 5 marks, geography 5 marks, English 5 marks. Like that, it's broken up. Those 75 questions you have to answer in 90 minutes. Okay. And again, the result is declared to you at that time. So you have done a pre-screening, you have qualified, you come for the next stage, which is, I told you there are 8 or 9 different syllabus there. When that is over, if you qualify, you come to the next stage, the written exam. Now, the written exam, there are 4 papers. There's a paper on reasoning, there's a paper on English, there's a paper on polity, like you call, and there's one on a mixed thing like current affairs and general knowledge, which comprises, again, environment and geography and history, etc. So these papers are of 250 marks. You got to get 182 marks to qualify, 162 marks, I think, sorry. 162 out of 250 to qualify for the interview. If you don't get that 162, you don't qualify for an interview. 162 actually makes 65%. So you followed, you've done a pre-screening, you've done the screening exam of CBRT, then you come to written exam and the interview. Interview is for 40 marks. 40 marks, you have to just pass that interview, get 50% perhaps for that, and then you come in the merit list. And then all those who pass the exams, they are appointed straight away as an undersecretary, as an assistant director in some department, or you could be as a deputy collector in some department, or you could be a municipal, or what do you call a chief officer of some municipality. So the positions are pretty high. They are good. They are powerful. They give you a lot of ego. But at the same time, remember that you have to understand how to do the job. Is that you don't go in there because you want to be a powerful person or you want to be a ruler of some sort or egoistic. You're going there to serve the people. And repeatedly, I tell you, all of us in government, we are of no use to anybody if the people's work cannot be done. So when you choose to come into a government service, you are the servant of those masters, the public. I repeatedly tell my staff, my PA who's here, that we are paid from taxpayers' money. All of us who work in government or institutes like this are paid from taxpayers' money. Even the poor man on the road, poor fellow who's digging the road, when he buys something from a shop, that tax is paid by him. And if we don't manage to fulfill the desire of that man, then we are of no use being anywhere where we are. All my Master of Engineering is of no use. So remember, you have to make it as a vocation more than make it as a career. That I'm going to go there, I'm going to serve honestly, dedicatedly, with all the morality that I can get hold of. So, you know, pressures, public pressures, political pressures, pressure from the top, you have to sustain it. You have to be honestly working. So this is the job of a junior scale officer. Is that clear to you, where you land? There's a little bit of a lower level job than that.
I have a question. Are there trials?
Just once, I'll answer you 1 second. So we take the question at the end, or we take the question now? At the end. So can I answer you later, or you want me to answer you now? What is the trial means? What?
Trial, like to answer the exam. Like if you don't clear the first one, can you try again?
Attempts.
Attempts. Okay, you can attempt n number of times. There's no problem. If you fail, but only thing that for that cycle you are gone. So if we advertise 15 posts today, and if you don't pass the first exam and this is the second one, then you have lost this advertisement. So when the next ad comes, again you apply. Okay. Now coming by this trials or whatever you said, the word is not, it's attempts, rightly. In 2016, we advertised for some posts. I remember I could fill only 1 post in that year. The second time I could fill 3 posts. The third time I could fill 7 posts. Last time I filled some 6 posts, I think. And now tomorrow I got 7 people before me. And I still have got 11 posts vacant lying with me. And of this 15, I've got 7 means I got 8. So I've got 23 posts still lying vacant. And I'm struggling to fill them. And many times people ask me, how come you're struggling when earlier we could just fill them and there were wait lists and all? I said, I don't know. That's a question. Perhaps you have to go and ask the people who fill them. But the moot is that you have to prepare well. Is that okay for you? Is that answer okay? Your trials are next time. So you missed that one chance. So there's an exam called a Block Development Officer, BDO. Now, who is a BDO? A guy who does the planning at the grassroots level, at the panchayat level. He does the planning for a block. A block comprises many panchayats, basically. So what is required to be a BDO? A normal graduate. Like a junior scale, any graduate can be. You can be a doctor, you can be an engineer, you could be a pharmacist, you could be a political science, history, geography, anything. University could be an open university, could be a distance education, could be so long as in the end you have a degree of some sort. Okay. BDO also require a degree of any type. Now for a BDO exam, we had advertised recently for 4 posts, and the exam will be sometime in December. We received 1,800 applications for that. And now the BDO doesn't have a pre-screening. They have a direct screening exam because the numbers are less. Okay. I mean, this time we may have a pre-screening, but the answer exam, it is not as difficult as the junior scale, a little bit lesser, but it is also an exam that needs dedicated preparation. I had gone once to Don Bosco College of Engineering to supervise an exam, and I met a girl who used to work for me in the pollution board. So I asked her, you're answering the exam? She said, yes. I said, you prepared well? Yeah, I took 3 days casual leave. You know, see, that is not going to help you. 3 days casual leave is of no use to anybody. I repeatedly tell you, if you want to start a civil service career, you have to study for 1 to 2 years after you graduate. And when I say 1 to 2 years, dedicated study at home, if your parents can afford to keep you at home and not send you to work, nothing like it. But if you have to work, and you have to also do that studying, and you have to do. And whenever I interview persons, they have all done exactly the way I'm saying, staying at home and studying. Now, you know, many times our children, I am son of this soil. I'm completely Goan. But I say, when people come to us for interview, many times our own boys and girls who have studied, say, in Maharashtra or in Kerala or wherever, they go to do veterinary sciences, they do other fisheries. In the hostels, they meet persons who stay with them. And those are the guys who are studying for the exams of their commissions of their states, like maybe Kerala Public Service, Maharashtra Public Service. So our children, they learn there that, oh, I have to also study. So they say that when we finished graduation, we stayed at home for 1 year or 2 years and prepared for this. And that is how you enter this service. If you think that you're going to work in a private sector from 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock, you know, when you finish working at that age of yours, you go home and you just want to, the word you all use is chill. I mean, that you want to be cool. You want to go home and you want to relax or sleep or go. If you want to really get into civil service, then that chilling has to just stop. There's nothing you can do about it. No mobile phones, no television shows. It is just like that. Otherwise, you cannot blame the system for you not passing. It is you have to blame yourself. Get the right books, read. I keep telling you, read books. Read. Now, for some people from political science, Plato's Republic is something that you all should have read once, twice, thrice, perhaps by now. You go in Machiavelli. There are a lot of good books that you can keep reading, to just get enlightenment. That what exactly am I to do if I become a ruler, if I become a king? Like the Greeks said, philosophers should be kings and kings should be philosophers. That's the way they. And unless you know philosophy, you cannot rule. You cannot be sitting behind a desk and be a video or be a director, and without thinking only take decisions. Decisions you have to think well. Therefore, the process of learning. So I told you about the BDO exam. I told you about the exam for the junior scale. Now I'll tell you about the interview panel. How is the interview panel? What comprises the interview panel? I chair the panel. Then we have got experts in each field. For example, if the BDO will have 3-4 former bureaucrats who will come and sit there. We have a retired High Court judge who will be there on the panel. We have an expert for Konkani language who will be part of the panel, because Konkani is an essential requirement of all government jobs in Goa. You have to learn, and we don't want you to speak some theater Konkani or some PhD Konkani. It's just a normal Konkani that you speak. There's a conversation you have. Because should a villager come to you, you should be able to explain to him what he or she wants to do. So, and then maybe they ask you to read something from a newspaper, maybe write a word about your name or something. That's it. You just have to pass it. So it is nothing that you have to prepare heavily. Those of us who are local, for us, Konkani is not a big issue. So once the interview is over, all the panelists put up their case together, and then we scrutinize it and we come out to a solution that who should be selected. So I've told you about the pre-screening, the screening, the written exam, the interview, the BDO, and the junior scale. There's nothing else that I can say fits your type of a background at this moment, like unless it's a teaching position. So this is insofar as your GPSC is concerned. Okay. So keep track of the advertisements, keep track of what you are studying. And like I said, if you decide today, which year are you in? Third year. Good. You're graduating soon, right? Pardon? Okay. Second year, one year more to go. In the next 1 year, 2 years, if you so decide that I want to be in the civil service, and I want to be a guy who wears sunglasses and goes inspecting sites at, say, and newspapers put my picture in the newspaper every second day. If that is your mind, without being in Bollywood, you can be a Bollywood star here for the government, but you have to study to be there. You can't expect to sit there and just get a job by not studying for it. So, just be sure that it's a good life. It's a highly stressed life, remember. It is not something that is easy for any person to take. Then many times people take leave, they leave the job, they feel too stressed, and many of the guys who are in service, they are diabetic by the time they're 45. Why are they diabetic? Because stresses are so high. They have heart issues. So, it is not meant for the weak. If you're strong, yes, you please come and get it done. And remember, there's nothing like if you ask me during the end that any books that I refer or any coaching classes that I go for, we can do nothing of that. I cannot recommend to you books. I can't recommend to you coaching classes. I can't recommend to you a coaching person. It is something that you have to do by yourself. Go to our website. All the information that you need is on our website. The old papers, even the question paper, like I said to you, the pre-screening, the screening is there. The questions are there. The right choice is there, which is the correct choice. It's all there. So there's nothing that you need to get from some other source. Just spend time. And if you set aside, right now, since this young lady said she's in second year, if you set aside 4 hours of your good time every day from today or from tomorrow, and just clear up at the end of 2 years, you will be there soon. I met a girl only who came and told me sometime back that she's in the civil service because I had dressed her at one time in a college in Naveli. So I was really happy about that. That sometime if one of you enter into civil service and you tell us that one day chairman spoke to us and therefore I'm here, that meets my requirement today. At least I've been able to convince somebody and motivate them enough to be there. So you have to be like that. Okay, self-motivation, and nobody will come to your help. Remember that. Okay, this is a highly competitive, rat eats rat or cat eats rat type of environment. Nobody will share notes. Somebody will help you. Don't even bank on that. Because if there's one job and there are 10 of you, each one wants their job, no? In a college, what happens? All of you can pass with distinction. All can pass with a first class. All can pass with 95%. There's no problem. Nobody has an envy because it's right there. But here's one job and there are here 100 people. So the rat race is so tough. When the rat race is so difficult, you have to prepare intelligently, diligently, and with a lot of, motivation. Yes, I will one day be the director of higher education. I will one day be an IAS officer, or one day I will be sitting as in the government holding a high position. That is what should be in your mind. Otherwise, it just frustrates you. So when I said, like, when I began, are you the farmer who wants to mind your crop of cauliflower and be happy where you are? So be it. Everything will be fine with you. But if you are the type to go on becoming bigger and bigger and getting more, then you have to jump into this bandwagon. Okay, I will end here. And if you have any questions to ask me, you can ask me, and I will be glad to answer them. Okay. Do I have to stand here to answer, or can I sit there? No, because the camera, I'm saying. No, I'll stand. I have no problem. I have no problem.
Otherwise, you can take it from there. So
you can have.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Would you like to have water?
Yeah. Is it water is here?
Yes, yes.
Is it normal water? Or is it
Yes.
normal? Not cold level. Yeah.
Yeah, if anyone has questions, please raise your hand. So we'll be glad to answer your queries. Any questions?
You can sit here. Yeah.
So as I'm not from a Konkani learning school, so I have zero experience of Konkani speaking. So can you suggest any books or any institution from where we can learn and get our Konkani sorted?
Konkani is sorted. Konkani doesn't get sorted. No, Konkani is something that you have to speak. Now you have got so many classmates of yours who are, I can see around you, who I'm sure they must be speaking Konkani. No, how many more years do you have here in this?
I'm going to be yours.
No, I know. No, in this college. In this 1 year, you talk to them. Just go on speaking to them in Konkani. It'll be sorted out. Don't worry. That's the only way you sort it out. Because, we cannot recommend you a book, a subject, perhaps in Goa, they have it in class 10, up to class 10. Then they learn Konkani. 11, 12 there is. But in a college, they don't have Konkani as a language unless you go to learn Konkani, which I'm sure you don't want to. So then you just speak to people. Go to the market, speak to the fisherwoman, the vegetable woman, talk to them. They will speak to you in Konkani. They may not understand you first, but slowly at the end, if you're giving them business, they will understand you. They'll be forced to understand you. So you have to learn like that. Read. And there's a newspaper you get. Since we all know Devanagari because we've learned Hindi, you just go through that. You'll learn it up. It's not difficult. Konkani, people who come to Goa within 1 year, they speak better Konkani than we speak. So you have to be able to be like that. Speak it. And there's, like I said, there's nothing Shakespearean in that Konkani. It is at a very low, rudimentary level. Okay? Yes.
So there's a question online.
Yeah.
Yogesh Parak is asking, is law degree compulsory for junior scale officer?
No. Law degree is only compulsory for a position called Mamladar. Mamladar is a post in government. In some states, they call it Tashildar. So the Mamladar's post requires a law degree, but otherwise, law degree, although it may help you to answer an exam better, but law degree is not essential neither for BDO nor for junior scale. Yeah.
So I wanted to know what are the fields.
You can sit down. Yeah, you can sit down.
What are the fields for economic students in GPSC?
Fields mean the openings.
Post, basically.
See, there is a post called a planning officer, okay, which I have not been able to fill for the last 5 years. Planning officer is a post that we have in the industries department. There we require a master in economics, MA economics.
Not graduate.
No, it's highly specialized. And then the other economics is for here, junior scale, BDO. You can teach if you wish to. But like I said, there is nothing that is very specialized in government unless it is for professional program like doctors and engineers or dentists, where they require to have a master's in a. Otherwise, in government service, generally a degree of any sort, most of the time will help you out. Okay.
So I had one more question actually.
Yeah, you can ask me. Don't worry, I'm here for you only.
In Delhi, we have machine to chop the crop, but the remaining part of the crop which is not choppable by the machine, we try to burn it, right?
Yeah.
Why there is not a machine which can pull out that entire piece?
No, you know what happens? That's why I said that is technology. That's the way it is done. So there's no, because those are on drums. if you see any YouTube video, it will show you they are drums. If it goes on the ground, it takes away the stones. See, there are a lot of stones there. In that, you'll have stones and mud and everything that comes in. So that's why
I'm talking about a specialized machine which can directly pull it out.
Yeah, no, they have not
It
yet
can solve
thought.
a big issue.
It would. I mean, this is a problem that, as a chairman of State Innovation Council, I perhaps would like to do it, but it is not solvable at this point. You know, it's not solvable at this point.
Any
Yes,
other questions? Any other queries?
you can ask me. Don't worry. What's that? She wants to ask me because the
Like in Delhi, Ma'am Karuna was saying that the class was saying that teachers were forced to give marks to the students
forced to give
by
marks.
the
to-
ministers.
I see.
Okay. So
This man doesn't get forced any of those things. Don't worry. Huh? So if you're asking me in that analogy, it's impossible for them to interfere in our systems.
ministers call you and threaten you that
No, nobody can threaten me. That's out of the question. But
what if the ministers are favoring the
Yes, there's a misconception among the student community.
yes, that's why I explained to you just now. No, I told you. Let me go a little bit deeper then. So how is your paper set? Okay, because see, if somebody has to do wrong, it can either stem from the paper setter, one, or from the paper assessment. There are two ways. Otherwise, there's no other way you can do it. So, we have a system where the paper is set 10 minutes before the exam. Let me tell you, and I'll explain to you how it is done. So we have about 3,000 odd questions that we collect from different examiners across the state and from big universities. Okay, that is fed in a bank that is now on a computer's hard disk in the storage of a computer. That is locked up in a strong room. Nobody has access to that. Now the examiners, because there are so many, the paper setters, nobody knows who set the paper for what. Now just before the exam, on the day, suppose the exam is today morning at 9 o'clock. At 8 o'clock in the morning, this transfer of the questions takes place to the main computer. At that time, if all of you are answering, you are already sitting on your computer at the exam center. So you can have no access to anybody telling you anything. The paper is set and it comes to each of your computers where you're sitting. It comes to your computers there. Now, suppose you are sitting, say, next to me, okay? We are answering the same paper. It is 60 questions. My 60 question numbers are different from yours. Like my first question will be, say, what is the capital of India? And your first question may be, what's the capital of China? I will get that question later on somewhere, and you will get the Delhi question later on. So, it is mixed. So I can't even look at you and answer that because everything is jumbled. It is not possible for anything that can go wrong at this stage. Now, by telling me that somebody will phone, that is not possible in this system. It is just impossible. In fact, one of the reasons why I came here today to tell you this is for getting you all more motivated to come and answer this exam. So there's no fear in your mind that there's any interference. There's no interference of any sort in this. Okay, just no interference. It's and unless you believe that, the best of you will not come to us. No, we want the best of you to come, and the best of you, if you come, you will be able to answer the exam well. Now you tell me one thing: we have got 15 jobs, and I can have only 7. No, tomorrow. Why did I not get the other 8 if there was interference? Why would I not get them? Everybody would want to be in the system, So you have to think like that. It is not. There's nothing of that. Just be rest assured that it's an honest, transparent process that I can assure you sitting right before all of you. And I know that I am online and I can say it with a lot of confidence. And I want you to get that confidence. There's nothing that can go wrong there. It is transparency of the highest order, let me tell you. People may say many things. Sometimes it may happen that if I get the job and you didn't get the job, then you may say that because of some reason he got the job. Because nobody wants to say that somebody is better than me, Well, I say that she's better than me. We have both got the same degree in political science. How can she be better than me? And sometimes it happens that, I may get, say, 80% at political science, and she may have got 60%. I'm just saying to you. But she may get selected for the junior option, I may not get. So then you say, see, I had got 80% and she got, but these are different, these are apples and oranges. You cannot compare them. You follow, no? So you have to be very clear that, see, this is a transparent process. There's nothing that can go wrong here. And unless you have that confidence, you will not prepare the way that you should. Other you'll think there's no point in me doing all this if somebody else is going to come above me who didn't deserve to be there. Okay, that you have to be clear.
What age is exam applicable for?
Age means
Age limits for answering these exams.
I see. I am the age limit. In fact, I always tell, joking to my secretary, who is an IS officer, that they'll come with walking sticks also if you allow them to be there. The point is that the cutoff is 40 years for normal persons. Okay, when I say normal, it's general person. Then they have got some things like a kind of a relaxation they give. So if you belong to a particular community, like say an OBC, you get, or SC or ST, you get a 5-year relaxation over and above that. Then sometimes you could be physically handicapped and also belong to that community. So it gets a carry forward. So you get 3 years because you're physically handicapped and 5 years because about that. I may miss the numbers here and there. So if you're 40 years old, maybe till the age of 48, you can apply if you have got that disability, plus you belong to ST. But from my experience in the last 5-6 years that I'm here, the persons who got selected for the juniors are between the ages of 26 and 30.
What's the youngest, sir?
Yeah, someone 26, 25, I think, maybe last time, 25 years old.
21, 22.
No, it's not possible because you graduate at 20 or 21, no? Then you have to prepare. And our process takes a year. Our whole process, that I explain, advertisement till you do that and come in, it takes about 9 months, it takes around that time. So you just don't worry so much about the age, okay? But don't wait till you're a grandfather to answer the exam either. You have to answer it now when you're young. So the older you get and the further you are from your academics and books, the more difficult your exam will become. Now you're used to studying, no? So it's easy for you. That's why I told you, if you decide to do now, stay home for 2 years and then you will be fine. The moment you take a break, now many times there are people, who they get married and then they get a family and then they have their family commitment, especially for the ladies. It is next to impossible in that case. When I say next to, because it is difficult. You have to manage the family, you have to go back home, you have to, there are n number of things. Some of you have a mother-in-law, a crank-in-law, that, and then who is going to take care of all those things? If you followed, no? So the better thing to do is, or maybe a cranky father-in-law also for that matter. But the better thing to do is that prepare now. This is the time. And only then you will be able to get through this whole thing. But don't wait for the other parts, no? Other parts, like I said, I'll get settled down first and then I'm going to answer this exam. It may not work that way.
So, what all jobs are available through GPS?
Jobs? Yeah. See, there are n number of positions in GPSC. Like I said, we will recruit for the Goa Medical College, for the Goa, every single government department that recruits people, it is done through the GPSC. Whether it's the industries department, whether it is the medical college, dental college, pharmacy college, engineering college, it comes through the GPSC. So in fact, in the last 5-6 years, I must have filled about 600 different positions, about 600 different posts in government departments. So it's across, but it's only the gazetted posts, okay? It is not the posts of the lower level. You're maybe confusing with those clerical posts, and we don't deal with those posts. We don't deal with the class 3, or like they call Group C. We deal only Group A and Group B, nothing else. Therefore, it is limited. So every year, GPSC fills about 150 posts, not more than that. 150 positions is what we fill. 120, 150. It never goes more than that, and it's never less than that. And they're, like I said, across every single government department.
So there is a question here. I think you have already addressed this, but the question says, is master's degree compulsory for GPSC?
Where is the question? You are telling me that? Okay. What's the question?
Is master's degree compulsory for GPSC?
No. There's not a single position that is for civil service that requires master's degree, but there are certain positions, there are teaching positions, like whether in colleges, whether in dental college, medical college, engineering college, that master's degree is essential. Otherwise, if you come for a normal position, it is just a plain graduation. Mamladar, law degree, okay? Like I said, that again is a bachelor's degree in law, not a master's degree.
For teaching posts, are there any CBRT exam?
Yes. No. Teaching post also has CBRT exam. Every post has CBRT. Every single position has a CBRT exam. So for teaching post, you have to pass your master's degree. You have to pass either NET or SET, like they will tell you. Then you have to pass our CBRT. Then you have to pass our interview, and then only you get selected. So it is quite a process.
It's about school in government colleges, schools also.
What's that?
Teaching in government schools. The teaching posts are again.
Yeah, no, what happened, the teaching posts in government schools are group C posts, so we don't deal with them. But the teaching posts in, say, in high school, they would come to us. You know?
So for school in government schools,
No, the government recruits directly.
Government recruits
Yeah.
directly.
But we would recruit someone like an assistant director of education, then we would recruit him. So there's an officer who administers education. But the teaching per se is done by the government level itself, group C. Yes?
So is there specified psychology related any work or official in this sector?
Psychology?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, for example, there's an institute of human behavior here, IPHB, okay? So psychiatric and human behavior. So there they have got a lot of positions for people with psychology. Now, but what is the thing there? You've got to have a master's degree in psychology, which like counts for. They have in psychology. Now in Goa University, nobody offers you MPhil at the moment, unless they come with it now. So maybe you have to think that, okay, if I do my MA in counseling or MA in psychology, and if I do my MPhil in a related area, then I'm eligible to be a counselor in the IPHB. You can be a counselor. Okay, so there are posts like that. But otherwise, psychology in the real terms, and there are something called Child Development Officer, CDPO, Child Development Project Officer. They're coming with women and child development. There again, you require maybe something of psychology could be there. You could be a master in sociology, master in social work, master in psychology. So there are various posts. So if you go through our website and you go to the advertisements, in that ads, you'll find all the qualifications required for a particular type of job. Have a look at that. It's a good study you can do, so you know what I can do next. Okay, and always keep in mind that it is only your merit that will take you on the job and nothing else. Absolutely nothing. I tell people don't need to know anybody, only need to know your subject. That's it. Yeah, I see. Along with me, there are 7 more people. So what that I don't know. It depends. Now, for example, if today you came to me for an interview, I perhaps would have asked you, what do you think is the cause of the air pollution in Delhi? I would have probably asked you that question. It is a headline news. No? Now we are saying COVID lockdown now because of pollution was a lockdown. So why is that? Or we're having a COP26 that is meeting in Glasgow regarding the climate change. What is the happening there? What is the issue there? What is coal-related pollution? See, these are all current things. So when you go for an interview, remember the newspaper. We ask, I'll tell you a nice example. There was this football World Cup going on at South America. It was in Brazil or I don't know where. And this lady comes to us, highly qualified. Okay, she's specialized as a medical job. So somebody asked America. Now, South America is full of football. You have Brazil, you have Argentina, and you have got almost every country that it plays. She could not tell us a single country of South America. Forget Brazil and Argentina. Not a single country she could tell us of South America. Sometimes you ask a simple question to people which you think that everybody should know. Like they may ask you, what is the currency of Pakistan? What is the currency of China? What is the currency of Japan? Or they may ask you, what is the area of Goa as a state? And do you know that hardly anybody knows? Now, to 30 or 40 of you are here, that what is the area of Goa? I don't know how many of you will answer me. Yes, one lady has raised a hand. No, don't tell me. I mean, I would not want to know. I'm just telling you that keep in mind these things. Somebody asked, when did Goa get liberated from the Portuguese? So this over-enthusiastic fellow in 1947. See, you are trying to get excited about a question. Think, is it 1947 or is it 1961? So what is it like? So you have to be, so the question that can be asked could be anything. You have to be able to understand what is the question and answer it precisely. Don't get excited and think something and answer. Very often they ask them now, when the governor of Goa changed very recently, we had a new governor. So that day only somebody asked, who's the new governor? Don't know. I don't know who's the new governor. It can't be like that. Coming into the government service, you have to know everything that happens in the government. No? Nobody will ask you what is the state budget, how many crores. Nobody will ask you those deep questions, just general things that you have to know. What's the annual rainfall in Goa? Very few people will tell me that answer. You know, or who were the rulers of Goa before the Portuguese came? Very few people will know that also. So, you know, these are the typical ways that you have to prepare. Study well, and the question could be anything. And remember, when we ask you a question, and if you don't know it, there's nothing to worry about. We don't know everything. I told you, I do not know the mathematical. And don't get also nervous about it. You have to be calm, be cool. I always calm them down there. So that's to be composed before you answer. Is there anything else? Yes.
The second exam that you were talking, like you said, right, to clear up exam, you have
Can you just
three-
lower? I'm getting muffled sound. Yes.
So there are three exams, right?
Yeah.
So in the second one, you said something about technological course.
Yes.
So under technology, what kind of questions can be asked? Like,
No, see, the technology related are basic to do. See, when you are working in the government, I'll tell you why. You could be the director of, say, IT department. You are qualified to be there in the sense, although you are master of sociology, you may be the director. So you have to know what is a startup, what are the startup policies, what are the key startups in India, what is the incubator, what is the venture capitalist, what is the mutual, things that deal with technology today. They will not ask you about engineering designs and all that. It's to do with startups, basically to do with technology startup. For example, if they asked you which is the latest startup that went public, Paytm has just gone public with a massive IPO. That you have to know. You have to read that. What is Paytm? What is the startup? What are the startups in Goa? What is the startup policy of Goa? You have to know all these things. That's why I told you require 2 years for that purpose. That I know everything that is there. Yes. You can ask me. Don't worry. I am here to answer your questions.
So this question is very, very, very weird.
Yeah. Don't worry.
What if your son? Suppose you have a son.
Yes, I have a son.
And he qualifies all the exams and all.
Right.
He's come for the interview and
Yes.
you're sitting.
Yes.
You know his pros and cons, everything.
Yes.
So, will the other people who are judging and all, interviewing, will they tell you like, okay, you don't ask anything because you know him or not? Will they tell, put you back?
No, I'll tell you. First of all, I am not supposed to have my son there. Okay. By law, I cannot do that. So, that is known as misbehavior. So if I have, of course, I would never do that in the first place, but having my son was in the US, he came back from there. So that's not an issue of him being here. But suppose, he wanted to apply for a junior scale officer's exam. I'll just give an example, okay? And he applies for it. I would never allow him to do it. First, because I have that morality in me not to allow it. But I can't stop him also, no? Because he is an adult. Now, suppose he applies, and by chance that he passes that exam. Now, on the day of his interview, I am supposed to give a written letter to all the people in the panel that this gentleman who's coming is my son, and I may be not allowed to be chairing that commission meeting, and I have to go out. Of course, this is not that's going to happen. It is a very rare case. But if I don't do that, then I can be guilty of misbehavior by hiding facts before panel people. But generally, this has not happened, and I would never allow this to happen. Never. I've been there for the last 6 years, and this cannot happen. But I don't know whether sometimes people do it that I don't know. But it's a very valid question. It's not a weird question. It's a valid question, and it's good that you asked this question because people should not encourage family members from participating in this process when you are, when you have this big competition that come in the Times of India and all. Have you seen those competitions, quiz competitions? There in the bottom, they always write family members and relatives of directors are not allowed to participate in this. But there is no law here that bars a relative from answering. It is only a moral law within that should stop.
So how many posts will be advertised in the next 2 to 3 years? So what will be the sectors?
No,
Any posts are related to 10,000 posts which government advertised?
those posts don't come to us. Those 10,000 posts, I don't know anything about them. They don't come to us. They are clerical posts, like I said, that at a low level. That is the Group C post. We deal with Group B and Group A. some weird people who come, like not weird question, but weird people. Yes, we once somebody comes for an interview, I remember, and we have a glass of water here like this for us. He sits there. He must think thirsty. He takes my glass of drinks and puts it back. So, what is that impression that you get? I mean, there's something not right there. No? These things happen. Nervousness. Yeah. So that's why you have to be very composed when you go for an interview. I'm not saying that the man faulted in that, but perhaps he must have not even known that water is not for me. It is for the chairman of the commission. But he took it, and I cannot stop him also there. No. So that's it. So these are the traits that one doesn't need to be a psychologist to understand. You can see it. And then they have qualified, no? They have passed our exam. So this interview mainly is to see that academically they are bright and they are also capable of managing that position if you put them there. Because sometimes many of us are so bright, but we can't manage a job. We cannot do it because we are not fit to be there. We are probably fit to be somewhere else. So that selection interview is very important from that point of view. Yes.
Like, which course would be like among the courses if you could compare?
Among which posts, this what I told you now? Yeah, actually, see, salary wise, I think at the entry level, somebody would earn about, say, 70,000 a month. I think so. Okay.
B group means that.
Yeah, around that much, 70,000. Then when you reach a little bit later, it goes to 2 lakhs a month or 2 lakhs in today's world. Okay. But then besides that, there are a lot of perks government gives you. You have a car, you have a driver, then you have a staff that work for you. Then you get leave travel concessions, you get medical reimbursements, and then you get a leave. Like, there are many other perks that come with government service besides the salary. I'm saying honestly. Yeah. I recommend you for all the posts for which you can apply and you're eligible and you can get, you can prepare well and get it. Okay. And remember, there's nothing like I tried to be a junior scale officer and I got only the BDO. Nothing like that. A BDO eventually becomes junior scale. In government, what happened? The other thing, remember, even if you enter the lower level, then you reach right there. So there are these promotions that the people give. If I get in as a BDO, after some 8 or 9 years, I get into the junior scale. The people who get into the junior scale, after some 15 or 20 years, they get into the IS. So that promotions in government is well taken care of. That's fine. But the point is that you have to get in there.
First get in. So initially there are written tests.
Yeah, I explained. There are computer-based tests. Yeah. Computer-based tests, pre-screening tests, computer tests. All on the website. All on the website. It's all there on the website. If you cannot find the website, come to my office. I'll show you where it is. But like I said, it is all there. Nothing that, like I said, it is that transparent. The paper over today, next day, the paper, the answer keys, everything is up on the website. You just have a look. Yes. Yes. For these posts, okay? Yeah, always graduate. Yeah. So you have to graduate first. And don't worry about, when you say, sometimes you say, I'm going to prepare for civil service and I'm going to answer, say, BA in psychology or in economics or whatever you're doing. If you're dividing your time between the civil service preparation and this thing, sometimes we think that I have to get 80% in BA. It's not required. You have to pass that exam, pass it. And someone who's intelligent, they will manage it. They will do well here, they'll do well there also. Somehow they will manage it. So don't worry so much about that I have to get first class. No demand of that sort. In the teaching post, there's a qualification because I think we have to have 55% for the teaching. Otherwise, there's no percentage. Even someone is 40%. But then when you get 40%, at a BA or in psychology or whatever, generally probably you will not be able to clear that exam because your
subject is not conceptual. Then.
Yeah, you're not clear.
Not understood the subject conceptual.
And one thing I have seen, I mean, this is just as a observation I have made. Okay, in fact, not only me, many have made. When we interview persons, I look at their SSC marks always, not the 12th standard. I look at the SSC. And when the SSC mark is high, I know that this person is smart. 12th standard, what I meant, and we lose our way in the 12th. We go to the 12th, and because we've reached a higher secondary, and then we meet the wrong people. Sometimes it does happen. So instead of getting 80%, you may get 55%. We understand that. SSC is a very good indicator. So normally when I look at people who have got, say, 80, 85%, sometimes with 90, 92%. I know that here there is someone who is bright, who can do things, you know. And not that if you got 40% means you're bad. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying as an indicator. So many times there are circumstances which make us do badly. Maybe you could be sick, or there could be somebody at home that was not well, or I could not do the exam. That's fine, but make up for it the next time. So those of you who've done well in SSC, remember, you're right there. Prepare well, and you should be there.
What about the people who have done much more better in 12th standard rather than 10th standard? Because I'm the case.
Yeah, good. Like I said, for us, SSC, what happens? There's not marked difference between 10th and 12th always. If everything is fine, and if you've done reasonably well in the 10th, within 5% marks you'll get in the 12th. There's not a big difference. I can't have, say, 95% in the SSC and 35% in 12th. I mean, there is something that is drastically gone wrong. You follow? No? It could be very close by. Then there's sometimes when you do 12th, you choose the subject of your choice. I have done SSC with science and physics and biology, which I hated all my life, but I was quite badly. But having done 12th in, say, history or geography, I am doing well. So, there's no comparison there in that way. That's why we take that SSC. The SSC takes care of all the subjects. You've got history, geography, biology, mathematics, history. So everything is taken care of holistically in SSC. That's why I'm talking of SSC. Which exam? Our exam? You are selected. Don't worry about it. We don't want your SSC marks. It is just that I'm telling you.
Sir is telling about the indicator.
Indicator.
He's not saying that those marks will be considered. No.
Yeah.
Indicator.
It's an indicator. Like there are many indicators that tell you things. No, your economics chaps will know. They are indicators. So you should
now
know.
Indicator 2021 batch. Okay, we have passed out. Indicator is already there. If there is a big difference between the 12th marks and BA pass out mark. Okay, it is an indicator again. Does not mean the student was bad or good. We can't talk about it. 2021 batch.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like I said, you have to just get. I think they are very excited about this whole process. It looks like, it's nice. But for me, if I see you all at my interview, I'll be more than happy. Because I see so many people I tend to forget. You can remind me. I was there at the Dempe College when you came that time. So, it is good for me that, that this motivational talk helps. It does good. But like I said, hard work is the only solution. Nothing else. Professor, I just told them now, they don't need to know anybody. They need to know their subject. That is all. That guarantee I have just given them. Nothing else. And rest assured, if you do well, you are selected.
Okay, so now closing the question answers. And now we'll move forward. I'll call upon Mohit, Faculty of Political Science Department, to extend a vote of thanks.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank the Honorable Chairman of GPSC for giving us his valuable time and coming to our college and motivating all of you all. I'm pretty sure all of you all are very motivated. You all look motivated, and the very fact that you all were very attentive even though the lights were not there. So that is the first thing. I would also like to thank our Madam Principal for always encouraging us to hold these types of sessions. And the main thing also, I would like to thank our in charge, Dr. Karuna ma'am, who has made sure that our department is not just all about theory. The very fact that we are doing all these programs is to link your knowledge that you all get from our college and how you all can make use of this knowledge. As Sir said, that please make sure whatever subject you all are studying, go in depth and make sure that you all do justice to whatever subject that you all are going to graduate with. And also, finally, once again, thank you all for attending the lecture. Also, we had many people online who joined us. So, thank you, Anu.
Thank you. And just before I think I missed. So, in case you all decide to come to GPSC for whatever may be the reason you need to, my PA Leanne Lobo is here. She will help you out. You can meet her straight. And if you need any queries, I'm sure she'll be able to throw light on that. Old papers, website or operating, application is not uploaded, or whatever reason, you can go and meet her. Okay, she sits just outside my chamber. Right?
Yes. 1
So
second.
before we end the session,
We'd like ma'am to extend you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
just pull down the mask. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Samir, carry these two sirs.